So is anyone ever going to talk about how much of a disadvantage our generation of students has in college? Our generation, I mean anyone born like after 2000. And when I say we're at a disadvantage, I mean every single professor I've ever had still teaches us like we were born in 1960. The way they teach is they just assign us a textbook and I just have to take notes, try and learn from the text. I don't know about y'all, but like I did not grow up reading like that. I grew up in an environment where I was just playing video games every day, watching YouTube, watching movies, watching TV shows. Everything was visual. Literally the only way I'm getting by right now is I found this AI that takes your textbooks or PDFs or whatever and it turns them into an explainer video. That's the only way I'm getting through. It's because they give me actual visuals and teach it to me like how I was taught growing up. Oh, it just finished rendering. Look at this. Now my textbook is in video form, something that's visual so I can understand it.
Components: economic growth, price stability, employment, and international trade.
Being able to turn all my textbooks and PDFs into explainer videos like this is super great and super helpful for me since I'm a visual learner, but still, I feel like we're at a disadvantage.
I'm gonna be honest, a lot of us are really selfish, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just the fact that like none of us can acknowledge that we're selfish. No one wants to take accountability for it. No one wants to be responsible for it. So I really think that we gotta like lock in and be more self-aware.
One thing that really concerns me about Gen Z is this idea that you don't owe anyone anything. And while that is true, I do believe very strongly that you owe people basic decency. You owe them basic respect. You owe them the space to speak up about who they are, their opinions, and to be somewhat respectful of that, even if you may not agree with it. And this very individualistic mindset in not owing anyone anything is concerning, is being pushed in a way that is not productive for society. And it is only pushing us further away from each other. Because if you can't provide basic decency, basic self-respect, basic space to express oneself and others, how are you supposed to connect with anyone? The answer is you can't. And the very system that we as Gen Z are trying to push back against in this individualistic, capitalistic society is the very one that we are preaching in a way that we are not seeing yet.
Not even gonna lie to y'all, bro. Gen Z is cooked. Now, hold on, stay with me here. I have a family member who works with this one guy, right? And this one guy that he works with, he has a very robust background in finance and accounting. So he knows a lot of C-suite prominent people in a lot of big bulge banks and financial institutions. And he said something to my family member that was very interesting that explains why a lot of Gen Zers are having such a hard time finding jobs right now, especially in the corporate world. Now, he told my family member that a lot of the people that he knows at these corporate companies are purposely firing and not hiring Gen Zers. Now, their assumed rationale of this and why they don't want to hire Gen Zers is because they think that Gen Zers are only willing to do the bare minimum needed for role responsibilities, and they're not willing to work hard towards whatever the role responsibilities are. Overall, they think that Gen Zers are just lazy and not willing to basically sell our souls to the companies that we work for. And it's fascinating to me how there's still a large portion of people who are in the workforce discriminating against people of a specific age due to their willingness to work, which is absurd. So anybody over the age of 60 who tries to tell us you guys don't know what it is to work a real job, to work real hours, you guys are getting the easy way out with AI and all these extra tools that you have to your disposal, my response to that is shut the hell up, because y'all are not living in an economy where inflation continues to rise, mortgage and rents continue to rise, and we're getting discriminated against because of our age, bro.
Gen Z might just be the most cooked generation in the history of mankind because somehow we have normalized being a bop. Like, I don't really know where we lost
The fucking plot?
but for some reason, our generation loves flexing, cheating on their partners, their rosters, how many people they can talk to, being single parents. I mean, the list goes fucking on.
And it's like my brother.
What the fuck are we doing? And true bops to go undercover and pretend that they are not a bop.
It's like my sister.
You are a citizen of Bopville. I mean, fuck.
Some people might even consider you
The mayor of Bopville.
I mean, have y'all ever seen the community bop repost some shit about loyalty and finding true love?
Motherfucker, why are you reposting that? You are a slurp and burp demon.
My mama, your mama, Obama, I got the backseat warriors in 5. And this whole trend of being, nonchalant needs to come to a complete stop.
Right fucking now.
I mean, 10 years from now, you woman will be watching your husband
recite his vows
With fucking one AirPod in the ear saying type shit.
I'm honestly just tired of pretending that being nonchalant is cool.
If you try to be nonchalant,
You are a fucking lame. And it's like my future lover.
If you aren't hand delivering me flowers and writing me handwritten notes every single day,
I don't fucking want it.
y'all can keep that nonchalant shit, cause honey, I need to be yearned for.
And it's like my ancestors.
I need you to come back and show Gen Z what it means to have a real, true relationship. Anyways, back to the main point of the video, the fact that this generation flexes how high their body count is, how many people they get with,
how much they cheat on their partners, and it's just like,
You fucking idiot.
you are a loser. And no, you aren't cool, you aren't this, you aren't that.
you are a terrible fucking person.
Okay.
Gen Z are becoming so boring, and it's such a shame. Here's why. And to be specific, I'm referring to the younger end of Gen Z, the 18 to 21-year-olds today. I'm technically Gen Z myself as a 27-year-old, but there is such a distinct difference between the 18 to 21-year-olds now and the 18 to 21-year-olds when I was that age and the millennials before me were. And in summary, this difference is 18 to 21-year-olds today, they're almost aging prematurely. They're far more tame, they're far more risk averse, and they're far more health conscious than you actually need to be at that age. Not forgetting that a lot of them really lack social skills, particularly communication when it comes to customer service, being served or serving other people. And to me, it's quite obvious why this has happened. The 18 to 21-year-olds today were 13 to 15 when COVID happened. These are pivotal years in your development. Combine that with the fact that this generation are the most social media inundated generation there's ever been. Maybe Gen Alpha after are going to be even worse, because for some fucking stupid reason, the millennials thought it was a good idea to give 2-year-olds iPads, but we'll see what happens with that. But either way, it's very obvious, right, that there is a lack in social skill and some of the fundamental human facets that come with us, right? We are a pack animal. We have in-person needs. We are meant to communicate in person. But you've got a generation of younger people who just didn't really experience a lot of those in-person fun things that you're meant to when you're a teenager. And with the social media, there's a heavy emphasis on maxing productivity, self-care, self-improvement in both the female and the male space. Sober curious girls, something that is a lot more common today. There are a lot of men as well who are even becoming teetotal. They follow this very American, Puritan, boring way of living where anything hedonistic is seen as bad. And it's a shame, because when you are 18 to 21, this is the time when you can get away with it. You can actually have fun and party, but simultaneously exercise. You don't have to start that post-university graduate, late 20s, early 30s, settling down lifestyle where you're waking up at 7 a.m. to go to CrossFit and then getting a coffee and a pastry. You don't have to be like that from the age of 18 to 21. Like, loosen up, have a bit more fun. And I also think this is a big reason why nightlife is declining in the UK. Sure, cost of living is part of it, but I have a lot of mates who work in the nightlife industry now in places like Leeds and London. Leeds Uni, where I went, it used to have an insane party culture. When I was there, house parties of like 200 to 250 people. They would go on till 10 a.m. the next day. You would have multiple rooms of different DJs, full setups. All the clubs had waiting lists for events, and that has completely changed at that uni now. The music industry is struggling. There's no way near as much demand from the younger people, and I genuinely think a huge part of it is because of the culture that is being formed through social media and that lack of outgoingness, that lack of social skill. Looking after your health is a good thing, self-improvement is a good thing, but when you are 18 to 23, 25, in your 20s, you can experiment and have fun and party and let loose and make mistakes. It's the best time for it. Loosen up.
Gen Z has a massive problem. Gen Zs want to be super rich, and yet also want to have really good work-life balance and to be able to follow their passion. Gen Zs want to be in a happy relationship, but then expect their ideal partner to just fall into their lap. And when they don't, they blame the opposite gender or society for their lack of love. Gen Zs want to be famous, and yet will never post their first video online, or even when they do, it's just incredibly disingenuous, just generally low effort, and nobody wants to watch it. Essentially, Gen Z wants to have its cake and eat it too. You cannot have it all. If you want to become rich, or famous, or get in a good relationship, it takes effort and sacrifice. This is a universal truth that I think a lot of previous generations understood. But since we, Gen Z, grew up with social media, we were bombarded with the highest of the highs since the beginning. This is what your life could be like. And because Gen Z is so used to instant dopamine, again, they think achieving that life is easy. and will fall for get-rich-quick schemes like day trading or drop shipping. In order to get the things that you want, you're also going to have to do the things that you really don't want to do. Because anything worth doing is either difficult, boring, or both. Now follow me for more content.
Here's Gen Z explained in 60 seconds. I'm Miami, I'm a therapist in Texas, and I specialize in working with Gen Z. So first off, how do you know if you're in Gen Z? In order to be in Gen Z, you have to be born between 1997 and 2012, so right now it's about ages 10 through 25. The generation before us is millennials. Gen Zers are digital native. So as you can see, millennials were digital pioneers, meaning that they pioneered the digital era. They were the first to be introduced to it. But Gen Z is born into the digital era, which means that we literally basically come out of the womb with a phone. I'm sure this is shocking to no one, but Gen Z are consumers. Circa the world of influencers, meaning that as Gen Zers, we trust influencers and their opinion more about what products to buy and things to get versus celebrities, which in the past it was always celebrities. We are philanthropists. This means that we genuinely care about our impact on the world and collectivism, whereas with millennials it was more of an individualistic mindset. We have been deemed the loneliest generation. This is because we spend more time in front of a phone or a screen instead of creating meaningful relationships.
Here's everything I hate about the Gen Z generation. I'm Gen Z and you're Gen Z too, so let me know if you agree or disagree with these in the comments. Alright, number one, it's that people do not take responsibility for their own failures. A lot of people seem to think that success is owed to them, and that if they failed, it must mean someone else is screwing them over or the system is rigged against them. You see, if you feel this way, the only one screwing you is you, because by taking the responsibility of that failure out of your hands, you'll never improve. Number two is everyone in Gen Z seems to think that there's this magical shortcut that can help them escape the 9-to-5. The truth is, it's there. It's just only there for like 0.01% of people. And I'm willing to bet that there's a very large percentage of Gen Z that will spend their entire life chasing that, rather than go get a real job. And that really bothers me because the $75,000 that I paid in taxes last year, it's gonna need to go to them on the street soon. Number three is that people in Gen Z feel like they need to have a strong opinion on everything. If they ask you for your opinion and you say you don't know, you don't care, or it's a very mild opinion, they'll start hating on you, no matter what side they're on. And that just blows my mind that someone having not just a different opinion than you, but a not as extreme opinion is something worth hating on. Number four is what I consider to be the biggest issue is people no longer interact with people that they disagree with, and that creates these weird echo chambers, especially in online spaces. Because nowadays, if you don't like someone or you disagree with them, you just block them instantly and you'll never see them again. Whereas back in the day when you met these people in real life, whether it's at like malls or bars or something, you needed to learn how to interact with them. And I think we've really lost that because of social media.
My generation is fucked. About 40% of college athletes have transferred this year, almost half of college students are depressed, and over 90% of Gen Z have reported to be stressed and burnt out. All of this is because of one thing. Accountability. None of these kids have any sort of accountability. Oh, I'm not getting enough playing time. It must be the coach or the school. Oh, I'm depressed. It must be a chemical imbalance. Oh, I'm not getting paid enough. It must be my employer. Shut the fuck up. Listen, I've been broke. I've been depressed. I've been on the bench. But when I ask why, it always comes back to me because I'm fucking honest with myself. And maybe that's why I'm starting to live the life that I want to live. Over 90% of you aren't even honest with yourselves, and that's why you can't even solve your problems. So when are you gonna realize that at the end of the day, it is your fault, but that doesn't mean you suck. Realizing that it is your fault and doing that is a good thing, put yourself in a position to solve the problem head on. I'm really hoping this lands for you, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You're welcome.
This morning on the radio host was saying that Gen Z are boring, right? Because we don't go out partying, we don't like have crazy wasted nights, we don't like do all the stuff that millennials and Gen X used to do, and I have to agree. I think we're boring as fuck, but and I love it. Can I just say I'm a lover of the boring lifestyle? But let me give you a few reasons why. Firstly, inflation. Do you know what I mean? I don't think in 2005 you guys were paying $27 for a cocktail, $16 for a glass of wine. Do you know what I mean? It's too much. How are we supposed to go out when each time you go out partying it costs you $6,423 and half of your arm? It's a bit too much. And then the other thing is, for me personally, I just feel like shit after I go out. You know what I mean? If I was to go out every weekend and go get home at 3 a.m, I feel shit for the rest of the week. I actually feel like a big fat poo-poo. Big fat chicken nugget poo-poo on the floor, right? So the fact that Give me one night every month, every 2 months where I have a few drinks. Perfect. Do you know what I mean? One night, I recover after a couple of days, and then I've got the whole month to look forward to. I had that one crazy night, got a few stories to tell, a few crazy little things. I pushed Katy Perry into the sandpit. I don't know. I don't know what the story is for that night. I'll figure that out on the night. But otherwise, I love my little boring lifestyle. Go for a walk with my friends. Go for dinner with my friends. Go get some matcha with my friends. What else would I want to do? Do you know what I mean? We can actually talk.
I had a panic attack at Forever 21 because I had this one realization. I was going through the clothes, looking through my mall of shit where I live. It's just H&M and Forever 21. And I'm touching the material and it's so thin. Like even just from me being 17, 18 years old when I first started shopping at these stores to now, you can just feel the difference. It's so crazy. And I'm like, my heart's pounding. I don't really realize why. And then I came to this realization. Gen Z has no heirlooms to pass down. Because what is it going to be like in 40 years, 50 years? It's like, oh, grandma's got some hand-me-downs from you. It's the fake mini Uggs, the rip-offs from the Australian company. Because mine, I bought mine last year, and they're horrible. The suede is terrible. They look disgusting. They're ruined. Like, everything is such low quality now, and we're still spending the same amount of money that we did, just, you know, proportional to our income on clothes. They don't last anymore. And we're just buying stupid trends like the clean girl aesthetic, and you still have 90 bottles of hair serums and skin serums like stuck in your bathroom that no one's using anymore. Who are you passing that down to? It's expired. It's done. Snail mucin. It's done. That shop isn't even going to exist by the time that you have grandkids to be like, oh, honey, this is the skincare that I used to use. Like, none of it's just so transactional now. And I didn't care about this for a long time. So I know that there's going to be people that are younger than me that aren't going to care, because I didn't for a really long time. I was a fast fashion girly. I was super into it. I was not raised with a lot of money. So it was like, oh yeah, I'll get this $7 top. Like, I look so cute. And it was a little hit of dopamine. You know, it was super great. But I'm 27 now, almost 28. I'm telling you, when your frontal lobe starts to develop, you start to think about like how you're going to be remembered, the things that you own, like what you're doing, all that. Like, working is a lot, like life is a lot. Like, what are you doing this all for? Like, what's actually important to you, the objects that you have, how do they make you feel? And I thought it was stupid for a long time. I really did. I was like, who cares? But then it's like, I don't know. I don't want the faux fur coat that's like 70% polyester, which is basically plastic. I don't want it. Like, because I'd rather just buy the real fur coat. And I know that some people are like, well, not everyone has $2,000 to buy a real fur coat. You do, though. Like, you've probably spent $2,000 over the last 5 years buying a bunch of cheap coats that go in and out of the trends and blah, 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 and they're made like shit and they don't last, and you have to keep buying a new one because when you wash it, it doesn't look good anymore. So it's like, and Matthew's mom is older and she really cares about like her purses and like her shoes, and like when I first started dating him and like getting used to it, I was kind of like confused because I didn't have grandparents growing up. I mean, like, I have one grandparent left, and we've had beef since I was like 7. That's a lore for another day. And so I didn't really get it. I didn't really have a lot of exposure to like the boomer generation and like what kind of products that they had back then and like how they have all these heirlooms. I didn't really get it. I have a very broken like extended family, so there's no like heirlooms or anything like that. And then I started to realize like how proud she is of like all the good quality shoes she still has and like the purses and like how much they mean to her and like how she'll give them to someone when she's no longer here, and like she can be and facilitate that. And I'm just like, that's so interesting because we won't have that. Like, what am I going to give to my grandkids? AirPods? Like, are my kids going to talk to their kids when I come over and be like, oh, grandma's going to bring over her fast fashion trash again. Just remember to smile. And then, yeah, we can just donate it after because it's crap. And it's just more crap that we're buying. And it's just, what's going on?
Gen Z getting fired is not a surprise because we genuinely want to set standards. We understand how fucked up the system is. And we want to push back against what we think is normal and what so many generations before us have accepted for a lifetime, and genuinely look at that and we're like, nah, we don't want that. That being said, I think it's really important for Gen Z to embrace the fact that especially when you're young, you need to learn skills that are ultimately going to set you up for your life, what you want to do, and support the life that you want. So while you may not agree with everything that corporation stands for, I personally don't, it is important to understand that at the end of the day,
You are learning skills that's going to help set you up, and hopefully you give back to future generations that are in the positions that you are in today. And at the end of the day, you are replaceable, but please understand that it is in your best interest to give it your best shot, learn the skills, network with the right people, and set yourself up and your life